Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jared Johnson, and I've been doing a limited series here talking about Texas Tech positions of strength and positions of concern. Already done videos talking about positions of strength being inside linebacker, tight end, special teams for the Red Raiders, and then I also talked about the young secondary being a position group of concern due to its relative inexperience. Though I did point out that there's a lot of talent potential there, and I think it could be a good year for that group. Just a little concerned about that inexperience. Now I'm talking about the offensive line, and this may sound redundant because I think I spend a lot of time. No, I do, probably more time than any other position group outside of quarterback, talking about the offensive line at Texas Tech, and I even asked head coach Joey McGuire at Big 12 Media Days about the offensive line and pointed out, I was like, look, we've been talking about this for seems like 2 or 3 years, but is the offensive line better? And what he did say was that what some people may not know is that there is a lot of experience on the offensive line, whether it be Caleb Rogers, obviously a multi-year starter at Texas Tech coming back, and he's going to play on the interior after playing, tackle for his entire college career in terms of games leading up to this season. But Caleb Rogers, Ty Buchanan started the bowl game and has some experience. Davion Carter, who transferred in, a multi-game starter. Vinny Skiri, who's going to start at one of the guards, has a lot of experience as well. Jackson Hughes, who transferred in from South Carolina, he missed, I believe, all this season, if not most of the season, due to injury, but he started multiple games at multiple schools. I think he has a chance to play some at tackle as well. Sterling Porche, who I think is going to be, your starting left tackle more than likely, who transferred in. He's a multi-year starter. So you go down the list, and there is a lot of experience. I think it's a concern because it's been a concern for years. Really, it seems like since Coach McGuire has been here, and not that he made that happen, but just that's kind of what he inherited. Definitely, like I've been a big defender of what Coach Wells did in terms of developing the roster, because what he inherited was a roster in big trouble, especially on defense. And I think mostly through the transfer portal, he did improve the roster, but they just really struggled in terms of offensive line recruiting, specifically in the high school ranks. And McGuire's starting to fix that, but that takes time. Let's just be honest. I mean, offensive linemen are not ready to step on campus and play early. It takes years to develop. So just by the nature of what they do. So, and not only that, it's not just the physical, but also the mental part of it too is a big. I think that's understated a lot. So they have a bunch of young guys coming up. You mentioned Daniel Sills is a dude that to watch out for. Young offensive lineman, a couple of other guys that they've recruited here in the last couple of recruiting classes. Jacob Ponton's another dude. Ponton, I think that's how you say his name, who I really like. Very athletic tackle to watch out for down the line, down the road. But you have a new offensive line coach in Clay McGuire. Now, bad news is it's new. There's a new guy. Good news is I really like Clay McGuire. I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about him. I think that was a very good hire. It's just the turnover. You've had so much, you've had so much of the same staff here under McGuire for the most part. But offensive line, you really need that cohesiveness. And so, new guy coming in, I think the timing, but he was here for spring ball. Everything I heard was good. And again, known quantity in Clay McGuire, very experienced coach, but there's just that concern there about a new guy coming in. And then so much roster turnover in terms of the offensive line, which may not be such a bad thing. Offensive line wasn't terrible last year, but it wasn't great either. I wouldn't even say it was good. It was solid at best. But you have the guys I think who are going to be stalwarts or guys expect to play a lot are Ty Buchanan at right tackle. Caleb Rogers, one of your team captains, multi-year starter. I think he's going to play guard. It could be either guard spot. He could play center as well, but he will start and play most of the season for you. I think Vinny Scary is going to be starting at one of those guard spots as well. And then I think Sterling Porcher is going to be your starting left tackle. But Jackson Hughes is somebody to watch out for there. Uh, there's Maurice Rodriguez is a guy who came in for junior college, 6'7", 340 pounds, big dude, but I don't think he's ready yet. I think he's going to need a year. He might get some seasoning this year, but I think he's a year away. Just in terms of getting acclimated to the speed of the game, getting his body obviously he has great size, but just getting stronger. He was a heavily recruited guy because of that size and his potential, but I just don't think he's a plug and play guy. You bring him in, like I think Vinny Scary and Davion Carter is another dude you brought in from the transfer portal. I think he's going to play a lot, even if he doesn't start, but he might start. But again, even if he doesn't, he's going to play a lot on the interior of the offensive line. Probably a guard spot, but he could play center. And then there's Sheridan Wilson, who was raved about by Clay McGuire last spring, several of the coaches. He could start at center for you. I think there's even Coach McGuire said here at Big 12 Media Days, he's in a big position battle for the starting center spot. So, if I had to bet, I would say maybe Sheridan Wilson is your starting center, but I don't think that's locked down for sure yet. So there's just a lot of uncertainty. Offensive line has been a position group that has underperformed here recently, and it's such a pivotal position for your offense and your team overall. So many moving parts. So do I think there's potential for offensive line play to improve this year? Absolutely. But also there's a lot of questions. So it's a position group of concern. But I'll be reporting on, no doubt. Can't get away from that offensive line at Texas Tech. I'll be reporting on that throughout fall camp, some of the position battles, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing and all that. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. And until next time.